We're going to talk about supplies versus actual items that you need to make the soap. Let's go over the supplies. These are the used items that you're going to need to make your soap. The first item you're going to need is coconut oil. Just any coconut oil will do. It doesn't have to be organic. It's just coconut oil. You're not eating this. You're using this for soap. Any coconut oil will do. You're going to need lye, 100% lye. You do not want anything that has color, smell. The only thing this can be is 100% lye, nothing else. So make sure you check the actual packaging to make sure it is 100% lye. I got this on Amazon. You can also get this at Home Depot and Lowe's. It's going to be in the drain cleaner aisle because that's what lye is used for. But if you want to make real soap, you need real lye. This is not the glycerin melt and pour soap. This is an actual bar of real soap. You need lye. Second thing you're going to need is olive oil. It does not have to be any specific brand. It does not have to be extra virgin. It just has to be olive oil. Your two oils that I use for this recipe are olive oil and coconut oil. You're going to need lye, 100%. And then you're going to need distilled water. Very important that you use distilled water and not tap water. You want water that has nothing in it, no little microorganisms, no funky things, nothing that comes like out of your tap water or even filtered water. You want distilled water. Those 4 ingredients will make a bar of soap. You do not need, it is not a requirement, to add a fragrance. If you are going to add a fragrance, keep it 100% pure. Keep it original. Don't add synthetic things to your soap. This is essential oil. The only thing that's in here is peppermint oil. Nothing else. You don't want anything else. You don't want extracts, flavorings, or anything that does not say essential oil. That is very important. You don't have to make soap with any kind of scent. I like peppermint because when I take a shower in the morning, I like how it wakes you up, makes you feel clean, refreshed, all at the same time. Peppermint's very good for you. It's also very oily in itself. Peppermint oil is what I'm choosing. I also like to use lemon oil if it's going to be a bar of soap that I'm keeping in the kitchen. Those are the only usable items that you're going to need for a bar of soap. Now let's talk about equipment. Very simple, a kitchen scale, something where you're going to weigh all the ingredients. You're not measuring, you are weighing. Even though you see measuring cups here, they're only for actual containers for mixing. You are going to weigh every single thing you use in order to get the amounts correct. You're going to need something for temperature. It can be this, or get 2 candy thermometers. You're going to need 2. I like to use the little gun because you can just shoot it in there and see the temperature right away. These are relatively expensive, especially at like places like Harbor Freight. You're going to need a glass measuring cup, container, anything you want that can be hot. This is going to get hot. I prefer this one. Buy this at a thrift store. Buy it anywhere you want, super cheap, because you're never going to use this for anything other than your soap making. Once you put lye in here, you cannot use this for anything else. So don't take the one from the kitchen unless you're going to take the one from the kitchen and buy you a new one for the kitchen. You're going to need a container with a lid, and I'll explain why. You will never use this container again, so steal one that's stained out of your kitchen, but you're never going to use it for anything else again. You're also going to need something to stir and mix with. I like the silicone spatulas. I got it from the Dollar Tree. I kept the little plastic thing on so that I would know this is my soap making because you cannot use it with food. I keep all of this separated from the kitchen. It goes into a tote in the craft room. The next thing you need is a bowl big enough to hold 5 ounces of coconut oil and 11 ounces of olive oil and be able to go in the microwave. So this is a microwave resistant, lightweight little mixing bowl. It even has a little rubber ring around the bottom to keep it from slipping. This came from Dollar Tree, but so long ago, you're not going to find this again. Make sure your whatever bowl you use, glass or plastic, that it is microwave safe. This is not going to have active, and I say active, lye in it. The lye that's going to go in here eventually is going to be here mixed with water, and that is going to dissolve and cool off before it even goes in here with the oil. So it just needs to be a bowl that you can microwave. I like hot pressed soap, which means I'm going to cook my soap. So I have a miniature slow cooker. I actually have two, so I can keep making soap anytime I want. Even when one's cooking, I can make another batch. Go to a thrift store, yard sale, or go find one of these on sale during the holidays. Don't pay full price because you can never use this for food. It's going to be your soap making crock pot forever. The only thing you have to look for is to make sure that your crock pot has the word warm on it. Once it has the word warm, you know this is good for making soap. This makes it faster. The other thing you're going to need is something to put the soap in to form the bars or shape. You can buy hundreds of soap molds on Amazon and any soap making store. Hubby built me these wooden trays that hold 1 pound of soap, which is what I'm going to make. I line it with parchment paper, and it makes it super easy to lift the soap out. He also included wing nuts in case I couldn't get the soap out. I could take this side off. I've never had to do that. I've always been able to just pull up my soap. Any mold will do. Again, if you're going to use a kitchen mold like a loaf pan, it can never be used for cooking again. Another thing you're going to need is a stick blender. You can tell by how yellow this is how old it is. This thing is super old. This was old before I designated it for soap making. You need a stick blender. This is crucial. You can sit here with a whisk. Your arm is going to kill you and you're never going to want to make soap again. So get yourself a stick blender. Again, used secondhand wherever you want because you're never going to use this for food. You're only going to use this for soap making. So that is the supplies and the equipment you're going to need in order to make soap. Very important to have all of your supplies out and ready to go when you start. Even if things like the crock pot is not till later, you don't want to have to go dig this out while you're trying to make the soap. Let's start with our lye and our water solution. We're going to do the water and the lye solution and let it heat up while we go and do the oil solution because we have to microwave the oil solution. The recipe for my soap is super simple. It is 6 ounces of water, 2 1/4 ounces of lye, 5 ounces of coconut oil, and 11 ounces of olive oil. This will be in the description as well. I did this on a calculator, a soap making calculator. I rounded the numbers up because they were just slightly off, but your 2 oils have to equal 16 ounces because that makes 1 pound of soap. This ratio needs to be correct in order for the correct amount of lye to go into your oil solution. So the first thing we want to do is we want to measure our lye. This is our lye container. We're going to put it on the scale and hit 0. Once we have all zeros, we're going to open our lye. It's a brand new bottle. We need 2 1/4 ounces. There we go, 2 1/4. I am outside, by the way. I am actually on my patio right now. So if you hear lawnmowers or birds or the wind chimes, that is the noise you're hearing. I like to do this in a very well ventilated area, hence the reason I'm on my Florida room patio. There is my 2 1/4 ounce of lye. I am putting the lid on for a reason. You don't want to accidentally tip that over. Always make sure your lye is secure. If you've never worked with lye before, you may wish to wear gloves. I've worked with it enough. I know not to touch it. I know not to spill it. I'm comfortable not wearing gloves, but if you'd like, gloves are an option that you should do. The next thing is our water. We're going to put our glass measuring cup. I've got a 2-cup one here, so I have plenty of room. I'm going to hit my scale to 0. I think there's a glare. There we go. Once I have all zeros, I'm going to pour 6 ounces of water in this measuring cup. Now I went to 6 1/4, so I am going to put a little bit out. You want it as absolute close as possible. Consider soap making a science experiment. We have 6 ounces. It basically is a chemistry experiment. It's a chemical reaction. Soap is made by the reaction of lye and water mixed with oil. So it is basically a chemistry reaction. You don't want small children around that can grab the lye or the lye water. This is a chemical experiment. Now we can set the water and the lye off to the side. Now we want to mix the lye and the water. You do not want to add water to the lye. You want to add lye to the water. And the reason is you're going to want to do this slowly. If you put the water into the lye, it would pour so fast you may splash. It's always best to put the lye to the water. So I'm just slowly pouring and mixing. I'm gonna give it a little tap because I want all the little granules. Now, put the lid back on this container. You're gonna use this every single time, and now you don't have to worry about washing it. You cannot see, but there is smoke coming off this mixture. Sorry, I wanted to turn the fan around. Don't breathe these fumes. Stay at an arm's length away and keep stirring until the mixture goes clear. I want to show you how absolutely hot this water is right now. 160, 150, 166 degrees right now. That is how hot this water is. This was room temperature water and lye added together. We want this mixture to cool to 100 degrees. So I am going to sit here and stir for a few seconds because I want you to see, and I have some here on my spatula. You do not want to touch this mixture. Not only is it hot, but it is corrosive. It would make your skin itch. You absolutely do not want to drink this or let anybody in the vicinity of you drink this. The fumes are getting better. I have a fan blowing on me so the fumes go away. And you can see that our mixture is getting clearer. It started out very cloudy, almost white. And you're just going to keep stirring this. We're going to see what the temperature is now. We're at 171, 168. It's still going up a little. When it's going up, that means it's still dissolving. So you're still wanting to stir it. Not only are you cooling it off, but you are actually dissolving the lye into the water. This seems like a dangerous ingredient to add to your oils to make soap, but without lye, you cannot have soap. You can have a sudsy substance, I guess? Soapy substance, but you can't have soap. Soap was created with real lye. You need that lye in order to make soap. My water is getting clearer and clearer. It's pretty soon it's going to be totally clear where you won't be able to see any tinting of the water. Also cooling off. Let's see what we got now. We're still at 165. I'm going to pause the camera for a few minutes just so this can cool off more so I can show you. It's been about 10 minutes. Our mixture is now down to 142, 140, so it is lower. If you're comfortable, you can carry this. Remember, it is hot still. You can take this to the freezer or fridge, set it somewhere not around any food, just for a couple of minutes to cool the glass off. It will cool the mixture off faster. We want this to be 100 degrees, but we don't want it to be under 100 before we make our oil and get our oil to 100 degrees. Kind of a balancing act. We need this mixture to be 100 degrees and we need our oil mixture to be 100 degrees. So I'm going to take and cool this off a little bit and come right back and show you how to do the oil mixture. Another thing you can do to cool your mixture off faster if you're in a hurry is get a larger bowl, add some ice cubes, and this will cool the mixture off faster as well if you don't want to put this in your fridge or freezer. We're now looking at 132. We need to get this probably to around 110. Then I'm going to set it off to the side to finish cooling so I can show you how to do the oil temperature, the oil mixture, and get that heated up. Make sure this is in a stable environment so there's no chance of this spilling or tipping over. Use a larger bowl, only put a few ice cubes in. We're at 130 still, and we're going to keep stirring. So it's been a few more minutes and we're down to 114, so I want to take it out of the ice. I don't want it to get too cold. I need it to be 100 degrees to mix into the oil. So get rid of your ice. And we're gonna let this, I'm wiping it off so the cold can go away. I traded utensils. I did wash this. This has no lye on it anymore. We're gonna do one final little temperature count, 113. So let's get started making the oil mixture. Again, we're going to weigh everything. Make sure you can see the little weight. This is a 30% coconut oil, 70% olive oil soap. That is what I used in the soap calculator to come up with this recipe, and I've used this one for so many years. You're going to put your bowl, the large one that you can put in the microwave. You're going to turn your scale on and hit clear till it's all zeros. For our coconut oil, we need 5 ounces, and I'm sorry about this huge thing, but I needed to make some other items. Now, because I'm outside, it is liquidy, so it's easier to scoop. That doesn't affect anything. I need 5 ounces of coconut oil. And now I'm slightly over. I am not using this coconut oil for anything in the kitchen, so if you guys see me scooping this in and out, it's okay. This is only being used for beauty products. Even though this bowl and spatula is 100% clean, I'm not going to contaminate them. Keep scooping and unscooping like me until you get to exactly 5 ounces. Again, this is like a chemistry set. It's an experiment. You need to be exact. When you're baking, you can add a little extra of anything you want, but not when it comes to making soap. We're at exactly 5 ounces. I'm going to take my olive oil. I need to add 11 ounces. So basically, I need everything in here to be 1 pound. So in order to get 11 ounces, I can simply pour my olive oil until I get to 1 pound, which is 16 ounces. When you get close, because this has got 2 kinds of oil in here, you want to go extremely slow. Oops. Now I have exactly 1 pound of oil in my bowl. So as you can see, I'd already used some of this olive oil. You only need 11 ounces. This is a 51 ounce packaging. You only need 6 ounces, and the sucker is huge. It's 54 ounces. I didn't realize I was getting such a big thing of coconut oil, but I use it for lip balm and salt scrub, so I'm perfectly fine with that. Now you want to mix it up. These are 2 oils, so they do not need to be blended because oil can blend to oil. We're going to use the stick blender when we're going oil and water, because then we have to make it bind because it's not going to by itself. So we're done with the scale for now, so we're going to move that out of the way. And we're just going to mix this up real quick. Get the little coconut clumps out. We're going to check our water. Our water's down to 105. I'm going to pause and I'm going to go heat this up until I can get it to 100 degrees. Now I have my oil. I've heated up in the microwave for 30 seconds. Did a few more seconds. It's at 126. My water is at 114. I need these both to get to 100, or close to 100, but they need to be close to the same. So my oil is currently hotter, so I'm going to cool it off by doing some stirring. This is the only tricky part, is getting these to come to 100 degrees at the same time. You can heat them up slightly in the microwave, only doing a few seconds at a time. Use the freezer, only a few seconds at a time. Just be careful with the lye mixture. You don't want to splash it, you don't want it to go anywhere, you don't want it to get on anything, and you don't want anybody getting this on them. We're at 113 with the lye and water, and we're at 113, 120, 117. Must have some heated pockets in there still. So this one is still higher. If you have two candy thermometers, those glass candy thermometers, you can put them in here and then watch it simultaneously. I liked this better than trying to read the candy thermometers. We're at 111. We're going to move it around, 105. So it's got pockets of heat going on in there still. And this one is still cooling. We can take our ice bucket, our ice bowl rather, and try to cool this one off a little faster. We don't want this one to cool off, so I'm going to put the container on top. You want them to try to get to the same temperature at the same time, and it's almost impossible to be exact, but you want to keep trying. You just want to get them close to 100 degrees so that we can incorporate them together at the right temperature. In the meantime, I have plugged in my little slow cooker on warm. I have it sitting warming up because I like to put my mixture in the slow cooker as it's already warm. So we're cooling off a little here. We got to keep going. I'm going to pause and get this down. Okay, I've cooled off the oil a little bit. We are now at 112 and our water is 108. So we're getting very close. This is still sitting on the ice. I'm going to get this down a few more degrees. This is going to cool on its own. I'm not stirring it. And we're going to get this one down. A word of advice: when you are heating this up in the microwave, make sure you stay there, even if it's only for a few seconds. Oil is flammable, and that does not just apply to being on the stove. That also applies to being in the microwave. Any heat can cause this to be flammable, so you need to be there to stop the microwave. So don't put it in there for 30 seconds and walk away. Stand there for the 30 seconds. We're going to cool this off. We're now at 110 and 108 for our water. So we're getting super close, and now once these get, probably going to go around 105, anywhere from 100 to 105 degrees, then I'm going to slowly pour my water into my oil, and I'm going to use this stick blender to blend carefully and cautiously, blend the oil and the water together. And you'll be able to see what it looks like and know when you've blended it enough. You'll be able to see that it no longer looks like oil or water, it's just a creamy mixture of the two. So because this olive oil is very dark, you're going to see that it's going to really lighten up. We are at 108, 107.7. We're getting very, very close. This is still sitting on the ice, so it can cool a little faster than the lye. If this was cooler than the lye, then I would have put the lye on the ice. So however you need to do it to get those temperatures to be as close as possible. It's important that they are close to 100, 107, 107, look how good we are. I'm gonna stop. 106, we're down to 105. There's 106. So I'm going to remove the ice. This is a good sturdy bowl. It won't tip over. That's important. Now remember, everything you see us using here that goes and touches this solution, not including this, not including the scale. If it touches your solution, you can never use it for anything edible again. It is now your health and beauty aid products. 106.7, 103. So now I'm going to stir the water a little, kind of cool it off a little bit more. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. We do a lot of paper crafting here, but there's going to be more of a variety of crafting as I've had people ask how I do some things. This is actually a request, and I've been promising a coworker that I would make a video on how to make my soap. And it's been a while because I lost my recipe and actually finally remembered it by heart. So I wanted to make sure she had a video to show her exactly how to do it. So here we go. Let's see what we got. 105, 100. We are close enough. I'm going to go ahead and slowly, without splashing or splattering, I'm going to pour this water into the oil. You still do not want to touch this mixture at this point. Do not touch it to see how hot or cold it is. Don't let it splatter on you. If you get any on you, go rinse it off right away. We're going to put this to the side. It needs to be washed. Now, this looks like an oily mixture. We're going to take this out. Again, you still cannot touch this. Just going to set it here. We're going to take our blender and we are going to hold it to the bottom of the bowl and we are going to blend. You're going to start seeing that it looks creamy. It's swirly right now, and it's going to start looking creamy, swirly, kind of magnetic looking, or I'd say foil looking. I have it all the way on the bottom. I don't want to splash, so I'm not picking it up. I'm just keeping it on the bottom for now. And you're basically incorporating the water and the oil. It's very liquidy. It's just starting to blend. I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to blend this for about 5 minutes and then come show you what it looks like. It's been just a couple of minutes, but I wanted to come back and show you. It is getting thicker. It is like very runny pancake batter at the moment. There's no more swirling. I've been going up and down with the blender in order to get it to blend fully. It no longer looks like a swirly, metallic, foily looking. It just looks like a very runny pancake batter. So I'm going to continue a little bit longer because I want it just a little bit more incorporated. Okay, it's been another 5 minutes. And now I wanted to explain what we're looking for. We need to get this to what is called trace. We want to bring this to trace. And that is when you pick this up and you dribble some there back and forth, if you can see the traces of the zigzags on top, you can actually see the zigzags. That is bringing the soap to trace. We don't have any yet because it is not ready. We're going to keep blending until we can see when we lift this up and do a zigzag of the stuff falling off, we should be able to see the trace of that zigzag. So let's do it for another 5 minutes and come back and see where we are. So it has been another 5 minutes and now it is thicker, still thin enough to flow off. But now when we pick it up and zigzag it across the top, you can see the zigzags. You might not be able to see it in the camera and I apologize for that. But I get the air bubbles out and I run it across and you can see the zigzags from the actual stuff falling. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you have it without air bubbles, you've mixed it up, made it smooth, and you do this, let the stuff fall, you can see the lines. It's like it's sitting on top. So basically some of this, you can see traces of that trail that I made. And I know it's very hard to see because of the glare, but you can see kind of some of it there. That is the stage you want to get it to. And once you get it to that stage, you are done with your mixer. Now, again, this here is a mixture you cannot touch. It is still acidic. It has lye in it, and it still is active. Now, you're probably asking, at what point can I touch my soap? You cannot touch your soap until it has set or been cooked. Now, the whole point, we mixed that lye with the water. To get rid of the lye, the water must evaporate or be cooked down. Once the water comes out of the mixture, the lye can be touched. So I'm basically just making sure I get all of it out of here. Carefully, don't splash, don't splatter. So if you don't want to sit and scrape it, grab you a paper towel without touching any of it. Now I'm going to set this in here and set it to the side until I can clean it. I will wipe all of this off with a paper towel and throw it in the trash, and then I will wash this with soap and water underneath the faucet. So now we have our mixture, and this might be a better way for you to see the trace. Did you guys see the little zigzag there? It like sits on top of or makes a exact impression. That means we have brought the soap to trace. At this point, if you want cold processed soap, you would pour this into your mold and set it somewhere covered and warm for 6 to 8 weeks. I do not want to wait 6 to 8 weeks. However, cold processed soap, the actual soap bar, will last you longer. Let's set this to the side and let's get the slow cooker. So my slow cooker has been sitting in the counter on warm. It's nice and warm. It's not hot, it's just warm. If you cook your soap, if you cook it for an hour, and I am going to show you how to tell if it's ready or not. There's going to be a lot of pausing in this video, but I want to make sure I show you every step. Gently pour your thick batter that came to trace, because you could see the trace of the actual zigzags when you tried. We're going to scrape all of this out carefully. Again, don't touch this. If you're not allergic to lye, the only thing it's going to do is make you itch until you go wash it off. I have gotten this on me repeatedly. That's why I don't wear gloves, because I know the results. I know what it feels like. To me, it's perfectly fine. If you have sensitive skin, you may be allergic to lye. Just take precautions, wear your gloves, and don't touch it. We're going to get every drop we can get in this slow cooker. Now the slow cooker is on warm, and it is going to stay on warm. You're not going to put it to any other temperature but warm. You cannot rush this, so putting it to high will not make it go faster. Now we need to put the lid on this. I'm sorry, a little drop bothered me. We are going to leave this on warm for at least an hour. I'm going to set a timer and plug this back in. When it gets started cooking, I will come show you what it looks like when it starts. I'll show you what it looks like when it's about halfway, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done before we can pour it into our mold. Hi everyone, we're back, and this has been sitting and cooking. It has been cooking on warm for an hour, and I wanted to show you what it looks like. You now have the dark color all the way around and this light color in the center. This is not done yet. You need this look all over. So we're going to mix this up and see how foamy and mixy it is. This color right here is going to be what your soap is going to look like soon. So we're going to put this, mix it all up nice and good. My lamp is, my actual stand is connected to the table. That's why you're shaking. Sorry about that. We are on location outside in the Florida room, making all these smelly things. I know we have not put any scent in here because that is the last thing you do. You don't want your scent to cook. This is very thick, clumpy, very fluffy, so it is almost ready. There is a way to test, and people are going to think that I'm crazy because this is super hot. If you take this, cool it off because it is super hot. If you touch this to your tongue, and it feels like you've put a battery to your tongue, this is not ready. If you touch it to your tongue and you had no reaction, which I just did, and I know you guys are going to think that's crazy, I did not digest any of this or taste any of this, guys. I literally just touched it with my tongue. I got nothing. Also, it can already firm up when it's cold. See how when I let it stay out of the crock pot and it's already firming up? That means this is ready. We're going to give it just a couple of more minutes. But as you can see, it's thick, creamy, there's no oil, and you saw that I touched it with my hands. There was no itching, there was nothing. It literally feels like I'm touching soap. A very soft soap, kind of like a liquidy soap. So I'm going to say we are good to go. This has been an hour, and that's how long I usually cook it on warm. I'm sorry, make sure you keep it on warm. So I think we are good to go. If it does not irritate you, there's no lye left in this. I know people think that there shouldn't be lye in something you're going to put on your body. Once the water has evaporated and come out of this oil, and by cooking it, we have taken out the water. We've taken out all the water. So now it has no harsh properties. It is literally soap at this point. You can use any mold you want. Now, had we not put it in the slow cooker and we put it directly into our mold, whatever mold we're going to use, silicone cupcake molds work great. And you can get them in holiday shapes. I have them in Christmas trees and Santa Clauses. I have so many soap molds, guys, but I always revert back to this loaf pan because I like to slice my bars for my personal soap. I will try to do another video on shaped soaps, and I will look and find my colorants to go into the soap. If you did not put it in the slow cooker and you poured it into this mold, put this covered, wrapped in a blanket or towel on the top shelf somewhere. Do not let animals or children get this. It needs to sit 6 to 8 weeks. It has to sit that long for the water to absorb out so that it's no longer an acid, it is soap. By cooking it for an hour, you are ready to go tomorrow using this soap. Make sure you go to my Facebook page, make sure you join because I will be showing you the actual soap finished and sliced. So we're going to put all of this into the loaf pan. And this is kind of hot, so you can either scoop it, which we're going to start with scooping some. You can scoop it or tip it up. You can get someone to help you by using some mittens, or you can rest it on your box and scoop it inside. And you just want to get it all in there. You don't want any to waste. You can at any point right now touch this soap. It is hot, so once it cools off, you can touch this soap. If you're like me and you always can't wait to see how good or bad it's going to be, honestly, I've never messed up a batch of this soap. This heated processed soap, and this is called heat processed. Not cooking it is called cold process. So if you wish to do some more research before you make soap, by all means, the more you learn, the better soap maker you will be. Now we're going to put every little scraping we can get out of here and into here. We are bouncing it like you would anything else to get the air bubbles out. Now guys, I meant to show you that is the step before putting it in here that you should have put your peppermint oil in. I'm going to do what I have done countless times. You're going to use about 1/2 teaspoon. I'm going to pour that on there and I'm going to mix it in. I have done that countless times because I have forgotten the oil. I got too excited getting my soap in the mold. I would have mixed it up in the crock pot and then dumped it into this. But I have made that mistake so many times. I wanted to show you how to fix it. It is not a total loss if you forget to put your oil in your soap. This soap smells clean without it. It smells like soap, like you expect soap. More like you would expect an unscented soap. It still smells soapy. You can make your top peaks, swirls, whatever you want. Now I do have to admit, I save this, let it cool. I go wet my hands and then I check to see how great this soap works. So we're going to do that in just a second. Let's keep this out of here so it can cool off. Once you have put your peppermint or whatever flavor oil you want in here, you've banged it a few times, shaken it, you know there's no air pockets in there. You are ready to let this soap rest. So I am simply going to fold this in, put a towel over it, put a blanket over it, put it somewhere warm and safe. It is now safe for animals and children. If this was not cooked, it is not safe. This is safe. You can put this anywhere you want, but you need to put it somewhere warm and protected. Keeping it warm a little bit longer prolongs the use of the bar. Now, if you made cold processed soap, the bars last longer in the shower than hot processed soap. But you can make hot processed soap, and once you slice the bars, let them air dry longer and they will last longer. That is how you make homemade soap. I hope you liked this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to come back for more, because the more questions and the more you want me to make, the more videos I will do. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy crafting. Well, I was going to leave you guys there, but I had something else I wanted to show you. We're going to set this to the side. I'm going to use this as a sink, because obviously I don't have a sink out here. I'm going to take my distilled water. Now once this has cooled, I want to know how fluffy, how good the soap is actually going to work. So I'm going to take a little bit, I'm going to add some water to my hands, because I want to show you. I just put oil on my hands, so it's a little bit harder to show you. I wanted to show you the soap suds that it makes. And if I could have more water on my hands, I'm sure I'd be able to show you a little better. A little harder to do not being on a sink. There we go. You see the bubbles? That means I produced a good soap this round. And you can take a little bit more. It is hot, so be careful. I usually wait till this cools off to try this. And keep in mind, I'm just using little slivers here. Your bar will actually do a great job. Here we go. Finally got enough soap and water mixture. And that is what your soap is going to be like in the shower. It's a very soft, smooth. This one smells wonderful like soap, because there's no peppermint in this. Remember, I forgot. Peppermint's in the bar. The peppermint is not here. So now you have this nice, soapy, lathery, creamy, wonderful mixture that is safe for your hands, safe for your skin. As with any soap, don't get this in your eyes. It is still soap. I have no idea how I'm going to turn the camera off. But guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And as always, happy crafting and happy mess making. Okay, it's been overnight. Let's see what our soap looks like today. Nice and firm. Let's pull it out. That's why we used parchment paper inside the mold. It smells amazing. It smells like I just unwrapped a peppermint stick. So now we have a very solid bar of soap. If I think it is too squishy in the center, I will wait to slice it. However, if you slice it and then let it dry on a rack or on a towel to absorb the moisture, then you will actually be ahead of the game. So this is what our soap looks like. It is not the prettiest of soaps. It smells great. I will slice this. I will go get the slicer and come back and show you guys how to slice it. I'm back. I had to run find my slicer. You can buy all types of soap slicing. Anything that will go through something thick and soft will work. This just happens to be a crinkly little thing to add some ridges to the side. That's entirely optional. You can use a knife, a metal spatula like you would use for painting, or something like this. It does not matter how thick you make your bars. Thinner bars will go fast. Thicker bars, if you let them dry longer, they will last longer. So we are simply going to place, you can decide how big you want your bars. I like to make them about an inch. So if you see here, we are on a old cutting mat. And this bar is exactly 7 inches. So I can make 7 bars out of 1 pound. So I'm going to use these guides on each side, and I'm having a hard time because I'm having to look around the camera. But I am going to just slice. I do have a guide. Hubby built me one. I didn't want to complicate things for you guys. Here is 1 bar of soap. It's a nice bar that you can, that I specifically like this size because my small hands can hang on to it. That is 1 inch. Now we're gonna go, and you can use your bar to make the next cut. Try to cut straight down so that your bars are an even thickness. There's 2. Remember, always use the same bar for your measurements. Don't use the next one because then it will just keep getting bigger and bigger. Cut straight down. There's our 3rd. And it is sticky, but it is perfectly fine. It is not dangerous at this point. It is going to be the same as any other soap. Now I sliced that one slightly crooked. So I'm going to try to line this back up and get me back on track. If they are for yourself, it doesn't matter if they're crooked. If you're giving them as gifts, it would be nice if they were even. So we have 3 more inches here to do. Let's cut our next one. You could also take a ruler and make little scoring lines at 1 inch increments so that you get them the right thickness. So now this is just a matter of slicing it down the center. And now we have 7 bars of soap using 1 pound of oil. We used 30% coconut and 70% extra virgin olive oil. We used 100% lye and distilled water. And now we have 7 nice bars of soap. The longer you let these air dry, the longer they will last in the shower. However, they are ready to go right now. You could take this bar of soap into your shower. You would get a great lather. You can still see a little darkness in the center, and like I said, they will go faster if they're soft. They last longer when they're totally dry. If you wanted these to be like bathroom sink soaps, or you were making pretty guest soaps, you could also cut this bar in half again and have the perfect hand washing size soap. Now, as you saw, I had a 7-inch long bar. In case you want to know how wide my actual bars are, they're 3.5 inches wide, the whole loaf. The entire loaf was 7 inches by 3.5, 4.5, 4.5, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. 7 by 3.5 is my loaf size. I got 7 nice size bars. The bars are now about 2 3/4 an inch thick and 3 inches. They make great gifts, but also they're wonderful soap. It smells like a peppermint stick in here. It smells clean and fresh. You're gonna love this soap, so give it a try. How would you like to make a bar of homemade soap? Using 4 simple ingredients, one of them being distilled water, you can make a bar of soap. This is peppermint scented, so we did add optional some peppermint oil. But how would you like to make your very own soap that smells amazing, lasts just as long, if not longer, than store-bought soap, but has so much better qualities? No chemicals or preservatives, just the way soap is intended to be made.